classification of high voltage testing. Classification of high voltage testing methods are divided into two groups, that is power frequency withstand voltage and impulse withstand voltage. These tests together ensure the overvoltage withstand capability of an apparatus. If you take any apparatus, high voltage apparatus, okay, for that we test power frequency withstand voltage and impulse withstand voltage test. Okay, basic terminology techniques of the technical terms are discussed here. In the test code and standard specifications, certain technical terms are used to specify defined conditions or procedures. Hence, commonly used technical terms are disruptive discharge voltage, withstand voltage, 50% flashover voltage, 100% flashover voltage, sweepage distance, AC test voltages, impulse voltages, reference atmospheric conditions. First, we shall discuss about the disruptive discharge voltage. In this classification of high voltage testing methods, which is defined as the voltage which produces the loss of dielectric strength of an insulation. It is a voltage at which the electrical stress in the insulation will cause a failure, which includes the collapse of voltage and passage of current. Okay, if the electrical stress in the insulation, then what it will cause? It will cause a failure like that collapse of voltage and passage of current. Okay, passage of current in solids. This causes a permanent loss of strength, and in liquid, what happens? In liquid or gases, only temporary loss may be caused. Okay, if insulation failure occurs, electrical stress in insulation, what happens in it will collapse voltage and it will passage a current. Okay, in solid, what happens? It will be permanent loss of strength, and when you compare with the liquid or gases, only temporary losses may be occurred. When you consider withstand voltage, okay, next is withstand voltage, the voltage which has to be applied to a test object under specified conditions in a withstand test is called the withstand voltage. If you take out, if for example any equipment, it should withstand 10 voltage, then it should withstand the 10 or plus or minus, there will be given tolerance. Okay, it will withstand more or less. Okay, like that for any equipment, if you consider withstand voltage is important. Okay, 50% flashover. In this classification of high voltage testing methods, which is the voltage which has a probability of 50% flashover when applied to a test object. This is normally applied in a impulse withstand voltage test, in which the loss of insulation strength is temporary. Next, 100% flashover voltage. The voltage causes a flashover at each of its applications. The voltage will cause a flashover at each of the applications under specified conditions when applied voltage to test objects as specified. Okay, if voltage is 10 voltage, then if we apply more than voltage, or if any failure occurs, then the flashover voltage will cause. When applied to test objects as specified is 100% flashover voltage. Sweepage distance, it is the shortest distance on the counter of the external surface of the insulator unit or between the two metal fittings of the insulator. Two metal fittings on the insulator. Next, AC test voltages. Alternating classification of high voltage testing methods of power frequency withstand voltage should have a frequency range from, that is 40 to 60 Hz, and it should be approximately sinusoidal. The deviation allowed from the standard sine curve is about 7%, The deviation is checked by measuring instantaneous values over a specified intervals and computing the NNS value, the average value and the form factor. In next class, I will discuss about the impulse voltages. Okay.